If you're a language student or a language teacher and you're looking for ideas of how you can use Google Gemini in language teaching, this is the video for you. Now, I've already done part one and you can watch that on the screen now if you click on the link. And I have to say it's proved really popular with 4,000 plays in the first day, which on my channel is a lot. And a big thank you to everyone that's been liking the video, and that's the reason why it's been so popular. This part two, I'm going to show you how Google Gemini can work with YouTube. Now, I love using YouTube to learn languages. It's probably the main tool I use, and what I'm going to show you today is really, really special. I am a language teacher with about 38 years of experience, and I'm also a language learner. I'm on my third language, a very difficult one, Polish. And one thing I will do at the end of this video is give you a little bit of theory behind what I'm going to show you. Right, let's get on with the video. Please like it if you can, please share it, please comment on it, and of course join me on my YouTube channel. Let's get started. So we all know how useful YouTube can be for learning languages, and I use it continually. And what I'm going to show you today is how you can actually extract the transcript from any YouTube video. And then what you can do is, because when you extract that transcript, it creates a file which you can then put into Google Gemini and generate all sorts of activities. Now, the technology that I use for this is actually free, and it's way more accurate than the transcript that you'll get from YouTube. And remember, not all videos have transcripts anyway. So this tool that I'm going to show you is a link between using YouTube videos and using Google Gemini. Let me show you how it works. So this is a technology, it's called TurboScribe. You can use it for 3 times a day for free for any video of up to 30 minutes, and it works in multiple languages. If we look here, for example, on the last time I used it a couple of days ago, you can see that it's generated the whole of the transcript from a video, but there's lots of other things that it does afterwards. So let's start by just quickly showing you how it works, and then we're going to look at how we can then link this to Google Gemini, and you'll start to see why it's so powerful. If I click on subscribe files, or transcribe files, sorry, all I need to do is to click here on the link, and I'm going to paste in the video, and I click on import, and that brings the video into the system. Now, there is occasionally videos that do not allow this functionality, but it's very, very rare. I have had the odd video. Now, it is important to choose the right language. Now, I'm going to do this in Polish, so I'm choosing Polish, but as you can see, there are lots and lots and lots of other languages, and if you scroll down, you'll see there are masses of them. So it really does work in a lot of different languages. But I've chosen Polish, and all I'm going to do now is click on Whale. Okay, make sure you subscribe to, or you choose Whale, sorry, because that's the most accurate, and then click on transcribe, and it will start to transcribe that video, and it does it fairly quickly. You'll start to see over here on the right hand side the percentage of how much of the video has been transcribed. I'm going to now stop the video, and we'll come back when it's all been done. Okay, and the video is all been transcribed, and I can click now on it, and I've got the whole of the transcription here. Now, before I show you the real magic, I just want to point out a couple of really useful things straight away. First of all, it also downloads the audio. So in fact, you've got the audio and the transcript, and you can play both together. And one thing I like is that when I play it, it kind of highlights what it's reading out. So watch this.
Obiad to takie piękne słowo, które dla wszystkich Polaków znaczy to samo.
So that's great in itself, and you can even slow down the speed if you want to do that as well. So that's great. And notice also, if you come over here on the right hand side, you do have the option actually to even download the audio. If you're a teacher and you want to use a particular audio from a YouTube video, or it's a podcast, then that can be really useful, because then you could use it in class and you don't have to be connected online. So that's really useful. Now, another thing I love is that, let's say I'm reading it through and there's a word that I don't understand. What I can do, and I'll just turn the volume down, is I can select that word and copy it and then come over to, say, for example, Google Translate or whatever translation tool or whatever tool you want to use to find out what that word means, okay? So that in itself, and of course it could be a whole phrase rather than just simply. So this is the way that I like to even work through and really understand the transcript that I'm working with and build my knowledge of it, often by pasting in words and then getting the translation of that sentence. Okay, so the next part is I'm going to show you the magic. I'm going to show you how I can save that file, the transcript, and put it straight into Google Gemini and then generate tons and tons of activities from the transcript. One thing, I did show you there very quickly how Google Translate works. And if you do want to know more about Google Translate, watch the video that's on the screen now. It's proved super popular and I show people how the magic button in Google Translate works. Let's move on then and let's learn about Google Gemini and TurboScribe together. And please don't forget, if you like the video, please click on it. It really helps me. Let's get moving. Okay, now this is where the magic really starts. All I want you to do is on the right hand side, click on this button here, okay? Download as a doc. Just click on that. That's going to open up the file. Now, I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. One thing that I would suggest you do, click on Enable and Editing, okay? Just enable editing and just delete the bit at the top there because you don't really want that. You just want the transcript and there'll be a little bit of information here at the top and then there'll be a little bit of information at the bottom, and I also suggest deleting that, okay? So now you've got the transcript. Now what I want you to do is click on File, I'll click on Save As, and I'll click on my desktop, and then I'm just going to give this a name. I'll call it Polish 2. In fact, I can use the title that's there. That will do absolutely fine. Click on Save. Now I'm all ready. I can now load that into Google Gemini and get it, for example, to generate a summary, get it to extract interesting words, get it to extract interesting phrases, get it to generate multiple choice questions around the video, get it to generate true or false questions around the video. This is where the power is, because you can now use that YouTube video. Okay, you've watched it, you understand now a bit more vocabulary, but now you can really check your understanding and dig much further into the content of the transcription of the actual language. So let's just look at a few examples. So this is where the magic really starts. Watch this. I'm going to click over on my apps and I'm going to come down now to Google Gemini. I'm going to click on it. And it opens up, and I'm just using the standard free tool, okay? I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click on this plus button and I'm going to choose File and I'm going to upload that file that I generated. Now, you can either write to Google Gemini or you can actually speak, and you're not limited to giving the instructions in English. It will respond to instructions in other languages as well. I'm going to actually just write to it. I'm going to just say to it, can you produce a summary of the transcript in Polish? And I'm hoping that it will do that for me. And this could be really useful. I've already studied the video. I've already studied the vocabulary. And now I've got a summary. Now, a super interesting thing as well, once you've got that summary, is watch this. If I come to the bottom and choose listen, it's going to read it out for me in Polish.
Oto podsumowanie transkrypcji po polsku. Transkrypcja dotyczy znaczenia polskiego słowa obiad i tego, jak jest on postrzegany przez mieszkańców Katowic. Site 2.
Okay, really interesting. Now, there is a better technology for doing that, okay, because you've only got one voice and you haven't got a lot of control over it. There is a brilliant technology called naturalreaders.com, which is completely free, and you can literally just copy the text, paste it into Natural Readers. Again, it works in multiple languages. Choose the voice that you like. You've got lots of male and female voices, and then you can have it read out by Natural Readers. And I'll put a video on the screen now in case you want to access that technology. Now, we can give it all sorts of instructions. For example, I've said my level is B1 in Polish. Can you extract 8 useful phrases from the file? So it's going to go through that file now and pull out 8 useful phrases, and it's quite interesting what it's done because it's written the phrases for me and it's given me then a short explanation in Polish of what that phrase means. Okay, of course you could do translation. You could ask it, you know, can you extract for me 10 keywords from the file and give me the translations into English. It will do that. So look what I've done here. I've asked it to produce 9 multiple choice questions to help me understand the text, and bang, it's generated the questions for me, okay? And very kindly given me the answers at the end. So this could be brilliant either for a teacher or for a student studying on their own. Remember, you just click at the bottom here and then click on copy, bang. You can take that idea so much further. You could say to Google Gemini, can you generate for me true or false questions based on the transcript? Can you produce for me 10 multiple choice questions to check my understanding of the transcript? Can you give me a translation of the transcript into whatever language you speak? Can you extract 10 keywords from the transcript at level B1 or at level A2? It will do a pretty good job, and you can really work around and generate lots of content from that transcript, from that YouTube video, which will really help you to understand the video better. And at the end of this video, I'm going to explain a little bit of sort of what I actually do. Now, one thing, if you want more free videos, come over to teachertrainingvideos.com. Many of the videos that I've put onto YouTube, particularly the best ones, I've put them all onto this website. It's really built for teachers, but there is a special section for students where I kind of go through some of the most useful technologies that can help students to study on their own. And there's loads of stuff, for example, for teachers around AI, ChatGPT, etc. Now, also, if you sign up to the newsletter, and I've got about 9,000 people on the newsletter, then you will be updated with all the latest videos, but also the webinars that I often run and the courses that I run. And if you sign up at the moment, you'll also get like a free mini course. There's no tricks. I really highlight key technologies that are free. I think there's only like 1 or 2 technologies that I highlight that you would need to pay for. Nearly everything is free. I show you some of the best and most popular technologies on my YouTube channels, different technologies that we can use in teaching and learning. I'm just going to go through a couple more things now that you might find interesting. I really don't know if this is going to help you. I've never really tried to do this before. I do have a big background in language teaching, and I worked at university, and I did the CELTA and a Delta and a master's degree, and then I read many research papers. But perhaps more interestingly, I've also attempted to learn several languages, some successfully and some less successfully. And currently I'm studying Polish. Now, what I'm going to talk about today is really just focusing on learning vocabulary and developing listening skills. I'm not talking about reading or writing or speaking. One of my goals is to get my understanding in a language as high as possible, because I find that the more you understand, the more you sort of naturally absorb. And that's beginning to happen to me in Polish. You know, I'll be sitting on the bus or on the train and I'll hear a conversation and I can almost pick up some words now. So a few things. First of all, when I choose my video on YouTube, I choose something really carefully. I try to get a video that's just above my level, and I always try to look for videos on topics that I'm interested in. So I'll look for something on health, or I'll look for something to do with football, or I'll look to something to do with sort of motivation and organisation, things like that, which I find interesting. As I get better in Polish, I'll be doing more on history because it's something I'm particularly interested in, but my Polish isn't good enough at the moment. So that's one thing, is choosing that video. And when you do a search on YouTube, you can, put in sort of a Polish video on football, and even put in intermediate level or something like that, and you may find that a video comes up. So you have got to get good at searching on YouTube and finding those videos. Now, I'll watch that video straight away. I'll watch it, and then the thing is, I'll put it into TurboScribe and get the transcript, and then I'll begin studying the vocabulary and choose some words and some phrases that I want to learn and put them into Google Translate. Now, I don't try to study more than about 10 words at a time. I'm always making the mistake of trying to learn 15, 20 words, and it never works. I just forget them all. You've really got to be kind of working with some key vocabulary. So even if there's 30 or 40 words in the video that you don't understand, just choose 10 and start studying those words. Now, as well as studying the words, I'll do what I showed you today. I'll make different types of exercises, like, for example, I might extract some of the interesting phrases from the transcript, and I might, for example, do some true or false questions or some multiple choice questions. I'll do other activities to kind of learn more about the content of the video. Now, when I study vocabulary as well, often I don't just study the word on its own. I actually I kind of copy the whole sentence or the whole phrase with the word included, so that when I'm studying the word that I want to learn, I'm kind of seeing it in context. I'm seeing it as part of a sentence. There are occasions when I just isolate the word on its own, but generally I try to kind of learn the word in a sentence because it's easier to hear it. If you do that, it kind of develops your listening skills. Now, one thing about language learning is you've got to go back and repeat and listen to that video again. Okay, you can't just sort of like watch a video once, study it a little bit and then say, great. No, because really where it helps you to memorize and get familiar with the language and to really absorb it is when you watch that video several times. So that's the reason why I told you to download the audio, or if you've got your telephone, when you're perhaps on the bus or you're on the train or you've got some dead time, just play the video. Just play that video again and again. Now, some videos, I'll play them multiple times. I might be at the bus stop and think, right, okay, this was the video I'm studying at the moment. Let me listen to it again. Another little tip about the video, sorry to jump back, I should have mentioned this. I generally try to choose things that aren't too long. Okay, so 20, 30-minute videos. I mean, okay, if you get really good and you want to do kind of extended listening or extended reading, I understand. But generally, I'm working with videos of somewhere around up to a maximum of about 10 minutes, but often shorter. So repetition is really important. Now, the interesting thing is I will often go back again to the same transcript and study another 10 words and then start this whole process again. So slowly, I understand more and more of the video. Now, that is all linked a little bit to sort of what we know from research about the importance of repetition, what we know about learning, about spaced repetition, how important repetition is. But what you want to try and do is repetition with variety. And that's why I'm saying, for example, it's great if you get the transcript and then, for example, you make a summary of the video. So now you're reading a summary of the transcript, and that is kind of practicing the same language, but it's in a different context. That's why I like to, for example, copy the summary and maybe listen to it as well, so that now I've got the video that I'm listening to and the summary that I'm listening to. So it's that kind of variety that helps me to learn the language. But I have to emphasize repetition with variety, repeating and using the language and practicing it and doing writing and reading and all of these activities around the content that you've generated from the transcript, and then playing that video again and again really helps you to absorb the language. I don't know if that's helped. That's what I do. Polish is very challenging, but I am conquering the language and fairly quickly compared to a lot of people. And, that is my approach when it comes to kind of developing my listening and vocabulary skills. Okay, really hope you liked the video. And if you do, please come over to teachertrainingvideos.com. There's hundreds more videos on the website. There's a really popular section on teaching and using AI. I specialize in making videos to help language teachers use technology. If you want to sign up to the newsletter, then that way you can keep up with all the latest videos, the free webinars that we run, the courses that we run, etc. And at the moment, if you sign up to the newsletter, there is a special 14-part free course that you'll be sent. You'll be sent a video about every 3 or 4 days that really just focuses on the most popular technologies on my YouTube channel that teachers have reacted to, and that really builds up into a really nice course and gives you a strong basis in using technology in language teaching. It's completely free, and literally everything that I show you is a free technology. If you'd like to have live training with me, then think about joining me on Patreon. On Patreon, for $6 a month, you get 3 free videos from me each month without any advertisements in them. But the important thing is those videos are connected to a monthly webinar that we have where we meet live, and we normally work with the technology that we focused on that month, or sometimes it's 2 technologies, and we do activities and really learn to use those technologies well, so that then you can try those out in class or online with your students. The other interesting thing about joining me on Patreon is that actually you get access to all of the backdated material. So there's over a year of videos and live training. This training is very practical with lots and lots of ideas about things that you can do in the class or online with your students teaching languages. So it's much more practical than the YouTube videos, and you get that as part of the $6 a month. Okay, I'm going to leave some more videos on the screen that I think you might find useful.